Hey everyone, how's it going? Oh, the holidays, they're coming, and it can be very stressful, right? So I wanted to really talk today about sort of the stresses behind holidays, how you can break free from them, and go over sort of my holiday permission guide for you. So you can use that when it comes time to not let the stresses and the anxiety around all of this consume you. All right, so Nala's making her appearance, which is awesome, but I do just want to share this with my group real quick, and we can go from there. So if you pop on, please say hello, let me know that you're here, because I do like to know, and we should then be able to get going. So let's do this here. Let me see, move something real quick. And okay. Awesome, let's get going. So let's get the cat out of the way. Start. So when the holidays are around, it can be very stressful, right? Because I was one of these people who I hated the holidays because that meant I had to be around food. And half the time, the food that I was going to be around in terms of the holidays were going to be my trigger foods, right? Foods that I wasn't allowing myself to eat whenever I wanted, or even on a daily basis, or ever, right? So if I'm around that stuff, that's when I lose my control, right? Because that's when I'm going to be overeating. I'm like, this is the one time of the year to eat this stuff, so I'm going to eat whatever I can, how much as I can. I don't care how sick I'm going to get, I'm just going to do it. And then yes, I always felt like crap after, like physically, emotionally, it didn't do well for me. So I wanted to talk today about some of these things, and then really give you, like I said, that permission guide, the holiday permission guide, to help you through this stuff, because you are not alone. You can do it. It's gonna not, be super easy, but it's doable, and you can definitely remind yourself throughout this entire holiday process what is your goal and how you want to really achieve that. So a lot of times when we get into the mindset before the holidays, it's very anxiety provoking, right? So you can really get into this role or the mindset where you are becoming the food and body police for yourself, and you can let those thoughts really invade your mind, and you have to be able to remind yourself to sort of take a step back, right? Like you might be wanting to use and do body checking to get yourself throughout it. And I always did this too, in terms of my stomach was a huge one for me, and I would always be touching it and see, like, is it flat? Oh my God, no, it's not flat. Okay, I need to like not eat or not do that. Or if it did feel bloated after eating or overeating, like that was a huge trigger for me too, and I would be very, feel like a lot of guilt and shame and embarrassment and just get pissed off. So a lot of times when this anxiety is coming into play and we know that this is going to happen, those thoughts can really consume our mind, and we can really be trying to use food to fill a void of that anxiety when we are put in those social situations where, a lot of food is involved, and a lot of food that's a trigger food or forbidden foods, or foods that normally you shouldn't eat or wouldn't eat or couldn't eat, right? So you should really try and take a mental moment to remind yourself to breathe, stay calm, and holiday on, right? It's easier said than done, but that self-awareness part in all of this is going to help you through this. So those are some of the things that can really start to come up, and I wanted to go over this permission guide with you so you understand how you can sort of take yourself out of these situations or help yourself through the situation, so to speak. So the first one with this permission guide really is to tell yourself you have the right to enjoy your meal guilt-free, shame-free, and without any type of trying to compensate in terms of calories burned or whatnot afterwards, right? You have the right to eat these foods without having guilt or shame afterwards. You really do. There is no reason to feel guilty or shameful after, because you are enjoying spending time with your family, your loved ones, your friends, and enjoying the moment. And the food is usually a huge centerpiece a lot of times with holidays, right? And you have the right every right to feel guilt-free, shame-free, and to not get obsessed with trying to compensate afterwards, in terms of that maybe you try to work out super hard before your Thanksgiving. Maybe you did two workouts before your Thanksgiving meal, or you are already planning and mentally planning what you're going to be doing after to try and compensate for the calories that you ate, right? You have the right to not do that. You have the right to not do that to yourself, and respect yourself enough and accept the fact that this is what you're going to do today and you're going to enjoy it, right? The second one, you have the right to enjoy seconds without any explanations. That means any explanations to your family, your friends, or mainly to you. You do not have to explain to yourself the reason why you are choosing to go eat seconds on something, right? If it is delicious and you like it, go for it, right? You don't have to explain anything to anyone in terms of why you are choosing to eat or not to eat some of these foods, okay? And it's okay to say yes to seconds. It's also okay to say no to seconds, right? You don't have to. If you are listening to, your hunger cues and you're like, I'm full, I don't really want seconds right now, or, I feel pretty satisfied with what I'm eating, you can easily say no to that and feel okay. At the same time, it's okay if you overeat, which means you could have said yes to seconds, and maybe at that point you overate a little bit. That's okay to overeat. We're human, and you are enjoying the moment, right? And that overeating should not be accompanying with guilt or shame after, right? You have the permission with this permission guide to do these things for yourself, and you can do these all the time, but the holidays are really a key thing where a lot of this stuff comes into play, and it's very anxiety provoking, and we get pushed down into sort of this trap that we can fall into where our mind takes over and we just get consumed sort of with the stress and the overanalyzing and the obsessive nature in this. So like I said, it's okay if you overeat. Totally okay. Like I said, it's also okay to say no to your friends if they are family are trying to say, do you want seconds? Do you want to eat any of that? It's okay to say no, right? It's okay to say no to these things, even if your family and friends made all this stuff. You feel bad if you were saying no to it, because I remember my grandma always walking by me like, you need to eat more, you need to eat this, and it was really hard to say no to her, right? But it's okay to say no. It's okay to honor your hunger cues and fullness cues and be okay with you to be able to say no to seconds or to somebody offering seconds or talking about it, right? And it's okay if you do feel full. If you feel overly full, it's okay. That does not at all mean that you failed at intuitive eating. You didn't. You listened, right? You listened and acknowledged that you were hungry and maybe you were a little bit full, but you kept eating. That's totally fine, right? Intuitive eating, there is no right or wrong way in doing it, and there is no perfect way either. It's you listening to you and honoring your own hunger and fullness cues. That's it. All right? And if you were full, you listened, right? If you were full, that's okay. You listened to it. And people, this is a big one too. People are going to be talking about a lot of dieting, right? Because usually when the holidays come around, it's like a preconceived notion that you're going to eat a lot, right? So then people are like, well, after the holidays, I'm going to go on a diet. I'll do better after the holidays. I just have to get through this and then I'll start to lose the weight. Or, oh my gosh, did she just gain all that weight? Like, I haven't seen her all year. Now she looks really, she gained a lot of weight during that. Like, they're going to have a lot of these diet talks. They're going to be talking about food. It can be a huge trigger. You have the right to either leave that conversation, don't participate in that conversation, or change the subject, right? You don't have to continue with that, knowing that that's a huge trigger for you and that's something that really, is inaccurate. You don't have to participate in any of that if it's a huge trigger, because I remember being around all of that. Like, you hear all of that at the holidays, especially after, people get done eating and say they did overeat. They're like, oh my gosh, like, this is so much. I ate so much. I'm going to gain so much weight from this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go on a diet right after this. I just gained 10 pounds. Like, that's a huge trigger, and that can be something that a lot of, people think about, but you don't have to participate in, right? You don't have to. You can either, like I said, leave the conversation, don't participate in the conversation, or try and change the subject. You can definitely do that. All right? And a lot of things that you can do, this last one, is have like a thing ready for you, a tool kit, so to speak. It could be on your phone, note cards, whatever, to help yourself with some of these motivational quotes to get your mindset back on point, right? Because it's going to be very easy sometimes for these negative thoughts to come into play. And that's what's going to happen, right? Thoughts truly just come and go. It's hard to control that aspect of it, but you can control what you pay attention to. And you can pay attention to the good ones, or you can like the positive ones, or you can pay attention to the negative ones. You choose that aspect of it, right? So if you are sort of having a lot of negative thoughts coming into play because the anxiety feeling behind the holidays are coming in, and maybe you just overate a little bit and you're feeling full, and that fullness is feeling very uncomfortable for you, pull out what you need to sort of get your mind back in track on the goal. And that goal is to have that food freedom and eat without guilt, eat without shame, be okay with this kind of thing, and have that ready, right? Because we always need reminders. We always need that extra support and motivation. That's totally okay. And I do that too. There's a lot of times, and I even have that sort of saved. Usually like Instagram is an easy one because a lot of people have that motivational quote thing, and you can save and you can just go through your saved file and scroll through them. You can also just Google some of this stuff too in that time, but having that ready for you to get your mind back on point and understand that you did not fail at this. You were just living. You were enjoying life in the moment, and that is key, right? But having that self-awareness, knowing that you might tend to go down that route, but having it ready that you can use some motivational quotes to say, like, I'm enough. I'm doing this. It is okay to have this, and to get your mindset back onto that positive, track, so to speak. And that can be a huge thing to help you, where you can use that to even start, like read that stuff before you go into this holiday ordeal or during, because things are going to happen. Not good or bad, right? Things are just happening. You're going to be living in the moment. You're going to be enjoying life. You're going to be enjoying time spent with family, but at the same time, being surrounded by some of these food items that are a huge trigger for you can be a massive thing to bring back those negative thoughts hugely into play, right? You can do this, all right? You can definitely do this. And it's okay to sort of not do perfect at this, right? Because that's not what we're here for. Being imperfect and acknowledging that is going to be key in this. So, right, let's recap in some of these things. You have the right to enjoy your meal guilt-free, shame-free, and without any mention or worrying about compensating for it, right? That means trying to work out enough beforehand. That could be working out after. That could also be restricting after, in terms of how many calories you consumed, whatnot, right? Number one. Number two, you can enjoy seconds without any explanations, mainly to yourself. You don't have to make an excuse to yourself or explain why you're going up for something for a second time, right? Especially to yourself, because that is the only thing that really matters in all this, is you with you, all right? You also have the right to say yes or no to seconds, right? If you want seconds, go for it. If you don't want seconds, don't go for it. But like I said, with that explanation, you don't have to explain the reasons behind either of them, right? It's also okay to say no to your family or friends who are happy overeating and who want to also send you in that direction of the second, so to speak. Like I said, my grandma was always the one that came around and made sure that you kept eating and eating, and it's okay to say no to them. Even if they spent a lot of time in the kitchen, they spent a lot of work doing all this thing, it's okay to say no to this stuff, because you are honoring your own hunger and fullness cues in all of this, all right? And it's okay to feel full, right? It's okay if you overate and you are full now. That's totally cool. That doesn't mean that you failed at intuitive eating by any means. It just means that you overate. and you were listening to your hunger cues, you listened and you were full, but then you were really enjoying the meal and enjoying the moment and you kept eating. That's totally okay, right? You don't have to have that followed with any guilt or shame or anything like that. It's okay if you are full, right? And people are going to be talking about dieting. People are going to be talking about wanting to lose weight after this, feeling that they just gained a lot of weight, knowing that they're going to do well after the holidays. Or, oh my gosh, I just gained 10 pounds eating this. I won't be eating for a week, right? It's that type of talking and that type of mindset that can be a trigger for us. So like I said, you have the right to participate or not participate in that conversation. You can totally leave that conversation, or you can try and change the subject, right? You can do any of those. But one thing you don't and won't help you if you participate in that conversation, you participate in that mindset, that negative mindset way of thinking, because it's only going to trigger some of these things and keep you in that as well. And you can also please use motivational quotes or anything to help get your mindset back on point, because you aren't going to be going through this perfectly. That's just not how this works. You could be, slightly triggered by a food item or something that someone said, and you'll need that extra reminder to get you back on track, right? To get that mindset back on track, and that's totally okay, because I do this too, right? You are going to go through life where things are going to be a little bit anxiety provoking, things are going to feel stressful, anything like that, but you have the amazing ability to choose the thoughts that matter most to you and choose the ones to really focus your attention on when they're the positive ones. Because like I said, the thoughts that come into play with all of this are really going to be coming in and out, right? Like you can't control that aspect of it, but you control the aspects of putting your attention towards something that is going to suit you and be worthwhile. And it really is worth your time to put that extra attention onto the positive thoughts, because that's what's going to keep you going into this path that you want, where you aren't consumed by food all the time. You can go to holidays and social events like this without sort of having an anxiety attack, or feeling like you need to bring your own food, or feeling like you can't allow yourself to eat these things, because if you do, you're just going to overeat and it's just going to be a huge disaster. You have the right to not do that, right? Like you have this ability to change that. You really, really do. You so do. And you can do this. It might seem super scary, it might seem fearful, but the moment that you start to put yourself in these situations where you challenge some of these things, right? That's the key. That's the key to breaking all of this. Staying stuck in your functional world, so to speak, only keeps you there, right? You know that better things live on the other side of it. Even if you try and talk yourself out of it, even if you try to make excuses as to why you can't do it, you know deep down in your heart that's the way that you want to go. You just have to do it, right? And like I said, you can just put one foot hovering, right? You just have one foot hovering. That's still progress, right? Progress is better than perfection. Progress is what we're looking for, and you can go any way about doing it as long as you're still moving forward, right? So like I said, this stuff is going to come up. The holidays for most of us are going to be coming up in a couple of days, on Thursday for Thanksgiving, but then obviously there's then Christmas time and then and New Year's, right? So these holidays are going to be coming up. You're going to have a lot of anxiety around it potentially, especially if food is something that you are obsessing over. But it can be done. And like I said, when these things come into play, a lot of times that food and body police with yourself is going to show itself even more so, right, in your mind. And when I say take a moment, if you need to go step away from something, if you need to go into the bathroom to find time, quiet time with yourself, if you need to just take yourself out of situations or conversations, I always search for animals. Would have any holiday get together and see where can I just spend time with an animal on my own. Go do it. And like I said, in these moments, remember to breathe, stay calm, and holiday on, right? Because the holidays are meant to enjoy spending time with family and friends and loved ones. And like I said, food is usually this main component in it. And that's just sort of what happens with this, but you don't have to allow sort of these negative thoughts and this anxiety behind it to consume you, right? So when you're catching the replay or anything like that, let me know if there's anything you have questions on. Like I said, this permission guide is really meant for you to help you through this holiday anxiety that can happen if food is going to be an obsessive thing that's going on in your mind. But it's not, you can do this. You can literally do this. This is the amazing thing. Just keep it in your back pocket, right? You got this. And if you find that the holidays are super stressful for you and you are scared shitless about going into the holidays, let me know. All right, because this is exactly what I help my clients with. Not always specifically with holidays, but the crazy thoughts and these sort of obsessive thoughts and these anxiety-provoking thoughts that happen when you think about food, so to speak, all right? Because that's not what life is really meant for. You are meant to be enjoying it, spending time with your family, going out to social gatherings and not having to worry about everything, not feeling like you need to bring your food with you everywhere you go, and having sort of this anxiety and fear-provoking moments when you have to stray, so to speak, from your routine, right? Because that's where that functionality comes into play, that you can function with it, but you stay stuck in it. And we want to have you break free from that so you can enjoy all aspects of life and not what's sort of in this little lane that has been your ideal at the moment, because it's sort of that safe spot. Alrighty? So if any of this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. If you catch the replay, let me know. And if you have questions, concerns, if you're like, holy crap, how am I supposed to do this alone? You aren't. I am here for you. So reach out. This week, I do have very limited amount of availability for these calls, so if you want to schedule one, let me know soon so we can get you in that spot, because they do fill up. Otherwise, we'll be back on track next week. Alrighty, so enjoy the rest of your day. Even if you're getting stressed about the holidays, it's okay, because you can do this. This is amazing stuff. Like I said, your thoughts, they come and go. Choose the ones that really matter most to you and are going to suit you to get you into the path that you want to go down, and that's going to be that positive path, right? So, enjoy the rest of your day. It is actually sunny here. I am so excited because it has been a little bit dreary. Granted, when my family is going to be coming to visit from Wisconsin and Ohio, I think it's going to be rainy, which I feel really bad because this happens every time they come here. But right now, it's actually quite nice and sunny. It's cold but crisp, but I love the sun. So enjoy the rest of your day. It's okay to be a little bit anxious about the holidays, but don't let it consume you and don't let it get to you. And listen through this video again if you caught the end of this or the replay, because the permission guide will definitely help you with it. Okay? Enjoy. Bye. This happens all the time where I can't hit the finish button on the first try. But for reals this time, enjoy the rest of your day.